Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. We're going to get into the Streamliner messages. Thank you for your input and the ones that really support the channel. Appreciate you all. 100% agree. Bulldog Duncan says, Marvin, I have no idea how young Francesca was. I didn't either, Duncan. And yet she spoke so clearly and confidently about her. What the hell is going on here? Moment with CP, poor thing, conspicuous by its absence. The AG have expressed no concern for how threatening those CP messages were. Wow. It was because he tried to stop her from talking, but tried to be clever about it in trying to manipulate her because she was so smart. She clevered on. But like I said, I think Francesca was one of the first ones to have people trolls come in, like basically Chris Tenerife, come into a chat just to see what was happening. It makes me wonder because, like I said, I was quite surprised how big Francesca was in the early days, but looking back and sort of investigating it, she was massive. A lot of young people were actually attracted to what she had to say, and she made some brilliant points as well. And she was also very fair. But I think a lot of the conversation, I don't think Chris Tenerife and Luggy didn't like it. And like I said, I remember Luggy basically being in my DMs and I didn't know who the hell he was. And that was in the very early days. So he was definitely checking out what channels were actually saying. Caroline says, when the MP mentioned about the young lad in her constituency nearly committing S because he was being targeted online over the case. Do you think she might be referring to Brad? I thought about it, Caroline. I don't think it was, to be honest with you. I thought about it. But like I said, after seeing Brad basically come out of court, sort of, I'm the big I am, I don't think so. Do you know what I mean? He's enjoying life. He's doing what he's got to do. But like I said, it is a shame. But like I said, I think she was on about somebody else, not Brad. Didn't someone say Abe or Rocky that he wasn't doing very well? That's probably to get us to stop talking about the case. Pinky Pub, massive respect to Francesca. She's a lovely girl, and I did not do anything at all to justify the nastiness she experienced. This has all happened very early on. Makes you sadly wonder how many other people have experienced similar intimidation. Well, myself and Ali did, Duncan and Mariana, of course, we know about that one, and many others. But the thing is that we're still here and we're still fighting for justice for Jay, and at least to get some justice for the people who are involved in basically the disappearance and the death of Jay as well. Rachel Chadwick says, but everyone from MSM and Consequence only reported to discuss what was said by the friends and family. No one forced them to give the interviews or made them say what they said. It was them who said it. Good point. Jay went off with two strangers. It was Debbie who said about that message. It was the friends who told MWG about the watch. And then it turns out that two strangers were actually rug dealers known to them, which they lied about. And don't forget, that was plastered all over the newspaper, Rachel, and the public as well. It doesn't paint a great picture. I'm not sure what they expected people to think. Why do the Sun interview if the trolling was that bad? Saying things like Ophelia closed the shop up when she and Warren Zach went up there, and Jay would never have left without charging his phone. Just have to fuel to the theories that they were aware were being discussed. Of course they did. Of course they did. I think she was angry and she wanted answers. And sadly, now this case has gone on and it's been closed. And I think, to be honest, I think she feels a bit embarrassed in that she did look into some of the stuff that she can. And if she did go back and do it, people are going to say, why didn't you do it in the first place? DD. Joy Wing says, the lump of so-called men traumatized that young lass. She was petrified after the live. Poor Francesca was so frightened by him and believed he was going to get to her and do her harm. Indirect threats are plenty. Yeah, I agree. Ask yourself, why did he do it? And before even Jay was discovered, really the work of good Samaritans. Pigs might fly. Really good. I think he tried to control her, and I think he tried to control the narrative as well. Thank you, Joy. Great message. Blame game. She's right. Boots for sure. I've always thought it was the brother of Ophelia. This was a photo of a male with a bald head, black boots, and a beer belly being circulated in the early days. Yeah, Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, and we can't remember what Abe said that basically when they knocked the door to move the car, and there was a guy with a wheelbarrow, and you know, the son there as well. This is what we heard, and Ophelia. Is there much truth for that? We don't know. There possibly is. Jamie says, where the GoFundMe is concerned, I think the public quite rightly wanted Deb to clear where and how it was used. It was given to the public, after all, fair comment, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. No one's being nasty, but like I said, there are some questions that should be asked for those for the ones who supported the GoFundMe. Lindsay said, Francesca to do that. And what a brave and spoke also wax. She was great. Yeah, I agree. She was absolutely brilliant. She speaks so well for herself, and she was so mature, really mature. I always thought it was someone in their 30s and 40s in the way she was coming across and what I was hearing about her. MySpace too. Other people are being bought into Jay's story, and that's nothing to do with it. Why would you even disregard something as valuable as that when finding out the truth of what happened to your son? Definitely, she 100% operating under duress, threatened, and has been forced to push this agenda and to read from a script to try and shut the sleuths up, as there are stakeholders on the island who are getting quite nervous about what's being revealed. That's a really good point. And having the rugs and money laundering operation exposed on the island, you can see in her face she's not one bit comfortable. No, she's not, and it doesn't seem like it's coming from her either. Great point, my space tube. Then goes on to say doesn't even know how to coherently get what they want across, which shows a complete disconnect to the position she's been forced into, in my opinion. Yeah, it seems like to me she doesn't really know what she's on there for, and she doesn't know the difference between trolls and content creators. And like I said, most of the points, what I see is what I said, what Wax said, what Mariana said, what Duncan said, what many of the Mamadi said. This is what I'm getting at as bad. But like I said, if you know, nobody's attacking the tabloids, nobody's putting MWT on the spot what he said. Nobody is putting what the police were saying, and our police saying, oh, it should have been a criminal investigation. Ex-police CID was saying it should have been a criminal investigation. And, you know, before it was an accident investigation, it should have been criminal, and then played down from there. Bianca, dear Debbie, I have a son the same age as you. My question is from me to you, why you believe the extended story with so many red flags, and there's so many different stories. It was there with day and night searching for my son. Why didn't you? Yeah, I would have done the same, searching. I would have done the same myself, and I would never give up if I've got the three. How dangerous it got. Mazda Smith, I think due to AI and Photoshop pictures, maybe something needs to be done. How? I don't know. IMO. Yeah, but if you remember, the pictures that came up of Jay back in the early days was so fake. Some fake ones in the club, lookalikes. Jay basically bringing out of a bottle of drink. It was all bizarre to me, and it just kept on going on and on and on. And it is very, very worrying that people could have believed in this narrative, and this is why I think there was so much upheaval in this case. Lindsay says, totally agree. ABD, Duncan, and Wax has facts and evidence. How can she be the way she is and not look on their videos and see it? I think she can, but I think it's too late to talk about it now. She is never going to do reverse it, what she's done at the end of it, and she's still got the opportunity to think, look, I need to look at something. She's willing to let it go without answers, and it's such a shame. Thank you, Lindsay. I agree. I'm not denying there wasn't trolling going on, and some of it was ludicrous, but they need to open their eyes and take a real proper look at what has gone on. Definitely, I totally agree. Yeah, it was interesting about that. Yeah, Tigina, where Joe Jones has mentioned it. Because why I mentioned that is because obviously Roman's got properties everywhere at the end of the day. And I think we could be possibly wrong where actually Jay maybe have gone back to if he was ever in Masca at any time as well. And we know PP has got a big property near there as well. So me and Ali said it would make a lot of sense. That is all the streamlined messages, brilliant messages, and input in getting justice for Jay Slater. We fight on. Oh, who's who? So let me read this. Who's who says, brave beyond the keyboard. I sometimes wonder if they don't realize the world can see their comments. I also have certain TikTok accounts in mind and the countless posts of their own theories, like Jay still alive or some claim to bring in the NRG group or family. It's a really, really good point. Replying to Caroline, Who's who? In Who's Who says, yeah, some of the early stuff was very wild and shocking, but never came from the AG channels. I agree. Luggy is the kind of person that holds vendettas. He regards himself as an alpha male. His backstory came out when him and CP were searching for Jay, being a good Samaritans, and then things about the search didn't make sense. Then everything exploded online. Yeah, he's got no respect for people challenging him, and he can get really, really nasty. And like I said, if you do that, people are not going to respect you at all. Caroline says, yes, I do agree. I don't think Streamline had anything to worry about too. Luggy is behind that, and he seems to be targeting Janwax and Duncan on his channel. Luggy's posts are so and cough. Yeah, I tried. Do you know what, Caroline? I tried to see some middle ground, and I tend not to get involved in Charges BS, though, basically Luggy did try to get in contact with me, got my got a business mobile number that was given to one of my workers out there, to be honest with you. And then obviously Chris Tenerife on his channel said, oh, Marvin, let's talk, or come to Tenerife and have a conversation. No thanks, because I'm never going to be told the truth. Thank you very much, people. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment. Caroline, Huzu, Rachel, Lindsay, Yvonne, David Miller, Ian, Master Smith, Tell the Truth, Bianca, MySpace Tube, that was a really good message. Janie, Lindsay, Blame Game, Joy Wing, thank you very much. Rachel Chadwick, Pinky Pup, Caroline, a lot of you have been with me a long time. And Bull, Dog Dunks, keep going and let's keep motivated and get the truth. Because like I said, we know a lot of these people will be arrested soon for something else, or maybe trying to do what they did to Jay Slater to somebody else. Let's hope not, though. Thank you all.